So welcome to class. Glad you're here. I thought that today we would start with a breath practice. So come to, of all things, lying on your belly. So I'll show you what that would look like. You know, make yourself comfortable if you want a blanket underneath your hips or, you know, any kind of support for bony places. And rest your head in your hands. And really there's nothing to do for the first little bit. So just feeling yourself breathe. Let yourself breathe in and out. And for latecomers just arriving, we're starting on our bellies. Flat on our bellies, hands or head supported by the forearms or hands, so that you can face downward but still have room to breathe. So resting your head in a way that, you know, your nose and mouth have space to breathe. And so for the next several rounds of breath, simply observe the in and out, however it's showing up right now. Noticing any regularity to the rate and rhythm. Thinking about the breath. Maybe you can tell how deep or how shallow, whether the breath is expansive, maybe you can feel the breath on the upper back and the middle of your back, and the lowest ribs. And then begin to modify your breath. Modify by sort of controlling the breath in this way. So can the inhale be a count of 5? And can the exhale also be a count of 5? And so if the count of 5 feels too high, the count that is working in your body today is perfect. Whether that's a count of 3 or 4, 6. So latecomers, we are breathing on our bellies like this. So can the in-breath be a count of 5? The out-breath, a count of 5. Or the number of your choice. And adding to this, keeping the in-breath at that count that you arrived at, whether that's 5 or a different number, keeping the inhale at that number, and then adding a hold for that same number, and then exhaling for the same number. So it sounds like this. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe at your own pace at the bottom of that exhale. When you're ready, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe at your own pace. When you're ready, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your own pace. I'll count one more time. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep breathing at your own pace, and when you're ready, move back in to that controlled breath. Inhaling, holding, and exhaling. The same number in all 3 aspects. So at the end of your next exhale, start to breathe however your body wants to breathe, and just continue breathing that way, releasing that practice of modifying your breath. And as your breath starts to settle, bring yourself up to a seated position. And bring the soles of your feet together in front of you. So we'll do a yin version of cobbler's pose. So cobbler's pose, you bring the soles of the feet together and your feet are pretty close to the pelvis. But I'm suggesting today that as you bring the soles of your feet together, let this be a wide diamond shape rather than the feet being close into the pelvis. Let the feet be further away so that you can then lift your torso and fold over in a way that is comfortable in your body. So if the feet are a little further away, the folding over and staying in this forward fold might be more accessible over a long period of time. I'm watching the clock. Go ahead and fold over and watch yourself breathe. And the folding over does not have to be forehead all the way to the floor kind of a fold. You might simply be leaning forward. You don't even have to lean forward. You might notice that when you sit like this, there's a big stretch already happening. So stay with the stretch. And also find the stretch quality that you can sit with in stillness for another minute or so. So that'll be different in everybody's body. Feeling the stretch likely in the outer and back of the thighs. There might be a feeling of stretch on the inner thighs too. Just noticing how this stretch changes over time. Maybe there's an invitation to go a little deeper. Notice what the breath is doing, and notice if there is a sense of anticipation about what's next. And can you stay in this moment with no anticipation? As if what's next doesn't matter. So bring yourself to upright. Let the left leg straighten and bring the right foot closer into the pelvis. But again, it doesn't matter how close, just finding a deeper bend in the right knee and a comfortable seat where you can at first be upright and feel where there might be a sense of stretch. And you can stay exactly like this. If you want to explore what the stretch does as you fold, I recommend folding over the right knee, finding a good place for your hands. And you can lean on the elbows, rest your head on your hands. So the left hip lifts up just a little bit, or may lift up a little bit. So you're finding this big stretch in the left side of the body. To exaggerate the stretch on the left side of the body, you can take the left arm up along the ear like you're reaching to the other side of the room. Let the left foot be soft, right foot be soft. You can even rest the left arm on your head. It doesn't have to be reaching with effort. A few more breaths here. Notice what the breath is doing. Press into the right hand to bring yourself to upright so that it's a very slow and precise, gentle coming out of that, transitioning out. And then legs stay in this shape. And now reaching over the extended leg. So lengthening the spine and finding the forward fold over this extended leg. And again, it doesn't matter. We're not trying to get head to the floor. What we're trying to find is this stretch across the low back, across the back of the thigh. No goal. Matter of fact, let the head be heavy, let the upper spine round. Left foot is relaxed. There might be an invitation to go deeper, folding further along. And I say further along because it's not like you're getting your head closer to the floor, it's like you're getting your head closer to your feet, moving in that sort of lateral forward direction. And slowly press to come out. And then switch to the other side. So right leg goes long, left knee bends, and the sole of the left foot comes to anywhere on the inside of the right leg. And start by folding over the left leg. So it's like a side fold. Folding over the left leg. Left arm might come to the ground. And the right arm can reach towards the far side of the room and even let your hand rest on your head. Because what we're finding here is the stretch along the side of the right waist. Maybe from armpit to the hips. Every little muscle between the ribs. Muscles that hold you upright in the torso, the core. Let your head be soft. Let the neck be soft. Noticing all the ways that you're anticipating the next move. It's not wrong to anticipate and to plan. Just notice that you are doing that. Press yourself up to transition to the second half of this shape, which is lengthening the spine and then folding over the right leg and finding this stretch. And again, it's not about getting the head to the knee or to the floor. It's about lengthening and reaching and then softening into the whole shape. So there's no effort. Even though my hands are on my leg, I'm not pulling. There's no like making this better or bigger or different. It's just, where's my forward fold right now? And what is my breath doing while I do this? And then pressing up and out of that shape. And come back to soles of the feet together. And do one more of these cobblers. So soles of the feet together and just folding directly over, supporting in any way that feels appropriate right now. Just getting some symmetry into the stretch. And then pressing up and out of that shape. Bring the knees back together. The next shape is, it's called praying mantis, and there's a couple ways to do this pose. I'll show you on the mat. You would come to hands and knees, take the elbows to the floor, palm hands together, and then lean the hips back so that you're getting this big stretch across the arm, the back side of your arms. So that would be praying mantis on the floor. You can also do this against the wall. So I'll show you that too if you don't want to be on your knees. So you would just stand at the wall, elbows to the wall. Your hands come to the back of your upper back. You can do palms together or not. And you just walk your feet away until you find that big stretch from elbow all the way through the waist. You can also do it on a chair. You can do it on a table. Once you know where you're looking for the stretch, you can find any surface. You can even do it without a prop. Noticing what the breath does in this shape. And we notice what the breath does because it's right there. The breath is the companion to being present, right? It's how we stay present. The breath is the ultimate mindfulness, right? It's the thing that keeps us connected to right now, keeps us from traveling into the past, keeps us from wandering into the future. Couple more breaths in that praying mantis shape. Gently pressing out of that praying mantis shape. And I'll show you the next pose on the floor, and I'll show you other versions of this as well. But on the floor, come to your knees, standing on your knees. Take your hands to your low back and simply arch opposite. So just simply reach up and arch back. So placing your hands on the back of your hips sort of guides the hips forward. So we're not leaning back with the thighs. Instead, we're keeping the thighs totally vertical, as if you're leaning your thighs against a wall. And just lifting the spine and leaning back. So you can dangle your head back behind you, but I do not like to do that. I don't like this. So I feel like I can't breathe when I do that. So I don't do it. You do which you like. I like to simply lean back. So I'm pressing my hips forward and lifting my breastbone, letting my collarbones be broad, and even letting my shoulders and arms sort of give in to gravity. And again, you can let your head lean back if that feels okay. This is camel pose. Couple more breaths here, or come in and out, but a couple more breaths. Maybe do that 5-5-5 breath. Inhaling, holding, and exhaling. And again, not going to a place of pain, just letting the whole front of your body have a stretch, and the low back gets a little bit of a compression, which is a good compression. Slowly lift yourself up and out of that shape. Stay on your knees for just a moment. I'm going to back up so I have more room on my mat. So starting, oh, I didn't show you how to do that standing. I'll show you that later. Okay, I'm so sorry, people that wanted to stand. You would just simply stand and lean back. Okay, moving on to the next pose. Take the right foot forward and walk the right foot pretty far forward so that you can then lean your hips toward the right foot and the back leg gets long. So now we're in a lunge. And you can stay right here because there's a lot happening right here, likely. But if you would like to add to this, reach the left arm. So my left leg is back and I'm reaching my left arm up overhead. And now I'm gonna reach to the right. I can take my right hand to the floor or I can leave it on my thigh. Either way, left leg and left arm are reaching away from center. Breathing, finding some rhythm of breath that is soothing, right? We find this soothing breath so that we can stay in the stillness. Let the left arm come down. Pause with two hands on the forward thigh. And then reach the hips way back so that eventually you're folding over the front leg. And you can let the foot lift. You're finding a big stretch in the front leg. And then switch sides. So bringing the right knee back. Left foot comes forward. Using the floor to help you do this. I was using the wall earlier, right? And then once you get the leg set up, lean the hips forward. And pause here with both hands on the forward knee. Staying here, this is a great place to stay. Back toes are helping with your balance. So sometimes I find that I'm coming up on my toes and sometimes I flatten out my toes. Depends on what I'm needing. To add to this, reaching the right arm. So right arm and right leg are reaching. And then I'm reaching to my left. So I'm stretching to the left now. And again, I can put my left hand on the floor, but I have long arms. So that's why that's happening. You could use a block. You could have your hand on your thigh. You decide. Staying here and finding the soothing, even breath. Taking away tension, taking away ambition and agenda and what's going to happen next. just this. Let the right hand come down. Pause with both hands on the forward thigh. And then move into that other extension so that your hips are moving back and you're stretching out the left leg. The left foot, toes can come up. Forward folding. And then bring the knees back together. Move through a little bit of cat-cow, so just a little movement through the spine. Lifting into cow and rounding into cat. And then coming into standing. Take the feet, I'm going to stand I'm going to face the short edge of my mat. I'm taking my right foot to the right edge of my mat and my left foot to the left edge of my mat. So I'm actually standing really wide. And then from here, folding over that front leg just until my torso is sort of level with the ground. And then letting my right hand land on my shin and staying right here. This is sort of a modified pyramid pose. So this right here is an interesting shape to be. If you want to play around, you can take the hands behind your back, lift the fingers, lift the hands, and you can try to fold further if that's interesting. But the level spine is also very interesting because there's a lot of stretch happening. And if you haven't already, come back to this level spine. So my spine is level with my floor, and my right hand is going to come to my right shin. Left hand to my left hip. And from this stabilized shape, just spinning my rib cage to the left. My face is looking at the floor, spinning my rib cage to the left. When I know my ribs have turned all the way to the left, then I'm going to turn my head to the left. And when my ribs and my head have turned all the way to the left, I can reach my left arm any amount. A couple of soothing, still breaths here. And then take left hand back to my hip, rotate my rib cage back toward the floor, my head follows, and then press to standing. And then switching to the other side. So my left foot is at the top edge of my mat on the left, and my right foot also to the edge of the mat. So my stance is really wide. I'm as long as I prefer. You can decide how far apart you want your legs to be. But as wide as your mat, does that make sense? So front to back is your choice, but the width is mat width apart. So from here, simply fold over and find what's working here. The knee should feel safe, no twisting, no pain. If you liked playing with this pyramid pose, you can interlace the fingers behind your back. Lift the hands behind your back as you reach for the floor. So you're reaching for the ceiling and the floor at the same time. Pressing into your feet. Breathing. And it's a little bit of a balance too. Bring the spine back to level with the floor. Left hand comes to the shin, right hand comes to the hip. From here, let the rib cage spiral to the right. When I know my rib cage has moved all the way, then I can turn my head to the right. And when the ribs and my head have turned, I can then add the hand and take several soothing, even breaths here. So actually controlling the breath now. Let the breath be smooth. Maybe it's a count of 5, maybe less or more, you decide. But it's smooth and you're controlling it. Hand comes back to the hip, rotate the rib cage toward the floor, and lift up to standing. Come to facing the long edge of your mat, feet wide and feet pointed left and right. So I'm not pointing my toes forward, I'm pointing my feet left and right. Bend into the knees. Bend into the knees and take your hands to the tops of your thighs in a supportive way so that you can have bent knees, lean against your hands, and reach your hips back behind you. So really reaching the hips behind you. And then from here, let the right shoulder drop towards the left knee. Moving across. Inhale back to center. Exhale, other side. So left shoulder to right knee. Inhaling back to center. So follow your breath. Exhale. And inhale to lift up. Exhale, moving to the other side. Inhale up. Exhale, right shoulder, left knee. Inhale up. Left shoulder, right knee. Keep going, your pace. Make sure the hips are reaching back behind you. Make sure this feels even. There's a rhythm to it. And also you can stay and not move. But if you choose to not drop the shoulders, make the breath even. So press to come all the way out of that, and then come all the way down to your mat. Lying on your back. So when you get to lying on your back, take the right thigh and cross it over the left thigh. So the thighs are close together. Arms out to a T. And let both knees drop over to the right. We'll stay here for several rounds of breath. This is twisted roots. Some of you can hook the right foot to twist even more. You can do that if you want. But don't worry about doing that. That's just fancy. So in this shape, let the head either turn to the right, or you might like turning your head to the left. You decide. Just looking for areas in the body to elongate and stretch. And because of that elongation and stretching, we're also hydrating, lubricating, adding water to tissue. Finding that slow, steady, soothing breath. And then keeping the legs in this configuration, bring the knees back to upright. Right leg is still crossing over the left. Arms are still at a T, or you can reach the arms overhead if you want. Just arms are in a wide shape. Let the knees drop over to the left now. Finding that stretch here, finding all the areas of stretch, redistributing water in the body. Deciding what you want to do with your head, maybe your neck gets to find a little stretch here too. Letting go of any gripping, any ambition, no agenda, just this. Finding that smooth, soothing breath. And then bring the hips, the legs, the knees back to center. Untangle and pause. Maybe bring the arms back into the body, rearranging for the other side. And then taking the left leg and crossing it over the right leg so the thighs are close together. And even though we just came from the left, we're going back to the left. So dropping the knees to the left. And decide where you want your arms. Overhead, out to the side, somewhere in between, cactus. Find an interesting place for the neck. And let all the ambition, all the ideas of the right way to do this, let all that drop away. Until you know you have found something that's just interesting, comfortable, my body right now. Me and my breath, just this. And keeping the legs crossed this way, bringing the knees back up to center, keeping this cross, and then dropping the knees to the right. Placing the arms wherever it's interesting for you. Settling into this shape, finding the interesting shape on this side. Finding the smooth and soothing breath on this side. And then bring the knees back to center. Uncross. Pause. And take a moment to reorganize your spine, your hips, your clothes. Just get all untangled. And then press into a bridge pose. So finding that nice supported bridge pose, feet are hip distance, under the knees, and lift into bridge so that your bridge pose is really this arch from the collarbones all the way to the knees. And you might notice that this is similar to the camel pose we did earlier. The one that I didn't show you how to do it standing. So if my hips are pressing toward the ceiling, my whole rib cage is arching. Very similar to camel. And then let yourself lower all the way back down to the floor. And then bring the knees into the chest. Give yourself a hug, possibly. You can stay right here for a moment, a breath or two. But if you like, you can also do the happy baby where you bring the arms to the inside of your knees, and then the knees can drop out wider than your shoulders. You could grab a hold of your feet, your ankles, wherever the length of your arms brings your hands. Just do the happy baby stance. And often when we get into happy baby, there's that side to side that we like to do. If you like. You can also extend one leg at a time. And then bring the feet back to the floor. And we'll do one more breath practice before Shavasana. I'm going to sit up so that I can guide you through, but stay on your back and either stay in this constructive rest shape where your knees are bent, or you can have the legs long, whatever you decide. I'm going to sit up and talk you through this practice called Nadi Shodhana, which is, that's a Sanskrit name, but the breath practice is really a virtual breath practice where we're, it's thought to be balancing the energy circuits in the body. So the nadis are the energy that runs up and down the body, right? So not getting into all those details, it's a practice where you breathe in through one nostril, out through the next nostril. I'll guide you through. Inhale that same side, exhale through the opposite side. And in so doing, we're supposed to be balancing the nadis, the energy channels in the body. So there's a way to do this where you actually block off the nose, but I find that the virtual practice without blocking off the nose is a great practice. So find your comfortable seat, or you can stay lying down, whichever you prefer. And I'll guide us through this practice. So at first, just notice that you're breathing, that just connect with your breath. Just connecting with that in and out rhythm. Through the nose, of course, through the nostrils. You might notice that one nostril is flowing more freely than the other. Just noticing that. And then to begin this practice, this virtual Nadi Shodhana, inhale through the right nostril and exhale through the left nostril. And then inhale through the left and exhaling through the right. Inhale right, exhale left, inhale left, exhale right. Inhale right, exhale left, inhale left, exhale right. You might notice that there's a little pause before you inhale right, pause, exhale left, pause, inhale left, exhale right. Inhale right, shift and exhale to the left. Inhale through the left, shift and exhale through the right. Inhale through the right, shift to exhale to the left. Inhale through the left, and then shift and exhale through the right. Do several more rounds on your own. The next time you're exhaling through the right nostril, let go of that practice and move into your Shavasana. And settling into Shavasana, just allowing your body to do what it needs right now. No agenda, no ambition, just this. Notice the quality of light surrounding you right now. And take in any sounds. Notice the temperature on your skin. And begin to move any part of you that's willing. Maybe the eyelids. Maybe your breath deepens for a moment. Maybe the fingers and toes. Maybe you roll to one side and stretch. Do all the things that would make moving into the next part of your day a gentle transition. And so I thank you for practicing today. Glad to see all of you. And I'll see you next week.
Thank you so much, Susan.
Oh, you're welcome. I will stop the recording and I will stay.